My father, who was my father? He was like always in prison. He was a communist in that time and spent most of his life like either running away from the government or in prison. Before that, I was having a big argument with him. I said, "You are very stubborn in defending the communism and so on. You don't see us, we need you," and so on. He became one of the very strong defenders of communism ideas and so on. Fighters, freedom fighters, but not with arms. Yes, and I think he spent all his life for that cause. Since he was very young until he died, he was a communist. He didn't stop, he didn't get tired of it. He go from one prison to the other. The Ba'ath is a national idea, I mean, vaguely, I guess. It's national, they are nationals. They call them national socialists, like the fascists. They have this, and inside the ideas, I mean, if you read what they are about, you will see there's some sort of fascist element in it. I cannot see what they did to Mosul and to the museum there and to the heritage sites and Al-Hadar, the whole town. They destroyed the whole town. I think this is the worst bit, one of the worst bits. They don't want the history of the country, they want to wipe it out. And that's Saddam, people, mixed with Islam. And this is the new strange creature come out. That's very powerful, fierceful, very violent. Because people do not want to understand that Saddam was a very violent person, very violent regime in Iraq. Saddam was doing the same in Iraq, apart from destroying the heritage, because he wanted to look like civilized, but he's not. And this is some little elements to keep him look civilized. The museum, the Iraqi art, they didn't believe in art. Everybody in the country is collapsed, and I think that women pay the biggest price for that. Now they're being oppressed by the regime and by the family and by the new kind of husbands who look at them as not as equal to themselves, who look at them as like a low part of the family. If you walk in Basra, for example, you won't see women. It's a main city. It's a city of men only. And the few women you see, they're covered from head to toe with black. And that's not the town I know. People used to walk free. Women with short skirts and everywhere. I mean, this is how it is. Women used to go to cinemas, to cafes, to theatres. Now, of course, all cinemas are closed in all over Iraq. Of course, we don't talk about cabarets and things. This is gone. But cinemas are closed, theatres are closed. No, any place, entertainment places, there's nothing. So, of course, women pay the biggest price in that. Of course, they are the first to be banned from doing anything. They don't go out. friend of mine came from Baghdad, and he said that the wife of his brother, during 2006, where the civil war started in Iraq, she was imprisoned herself. She imprisoned herself inside the house for about 9 months. Okay. And then she moved to her parents' house, and she stayed over 1 year there. She haven't got out at all. She stayed almost 2 years inside. And he spoke to one of his cousins who used to be a very advanced, open-minded man. He said, why don't you go out with your sister? I mean, go out with her if she cannot go out by herself. She's been in prison for 2 years now. You go out with her. Take her out just to see the street, for example. For God's sake, it's not fair. And I said, well, if I take her out and somebody came, like, tried something with her, I will defend her and they will kill me. Naturally, they will kill me. That's what's going to happen. So she will lose me. So I prefer to imprison her here and to save my life and save her, save the family. I mean, if these stories were told in the 80s or 70s, I would never believe it. I would think this is, an imaginative scenario. But now it's reality. I used to go to, when I was in Iraq, to visit friends or family or neighbors or whatever. I know all their wives or sisters, or meet them, talk to them, we eat together. But now, when I went to Basra, I visited lots of people. I haven't seen any of their wives. I don't know if they were married or not. I see children. There must be a wife somewhere. But I haven't seen them. So men are different now. They don't let you see their wife. It's I don't know, haram. They can't. So now, this same situation, you can't imagine what's happening to women artists who suffer more because they have to be out. They need to mix with people. They need to see. They need to go to exhibitions. And they suffer a lot. They suffer badly. And now, for the last 20 years maybe, you don't see, for example, singers, women singers. They disappeared. Only some prostitutes who can't dare to sing, but very either secret way or in other countries, or I don't know how. But you don't see, Iraq was full of singers, women singers and musicians. They just vanished. No new voices. That's not allowed. Even if a man was like a good person, understand, he's open-minded, and he will let his sister or his wife to sing, he will not do that. He will not allow it, because the people will blame him, people will punish him. So he cannot do it. It's not your choice anymore. This is social choice, and the social choice is in the hand of some parties who have their own militias, very well armed. And these militias are guided by some clerics who lives in the medievals, in the dark era of humanity. They still live there. Of course, that's in all arts. I saw many, they are really brave, and I am impressed their courage. And women artists, they go to exhibitions in Baghdad, and they go to poetry readings and so on. They read their poems, and some of them still acting in a very limited way, because only 1 or 2 theatres are still working on a very small capacity. You really impress them, and you're very happy to see them. But that's, very tiny sample, let's say, from what used to be Iraq before. And there was a photograph, a beautiful photograph, like 50 women with beautifully dressed, very modern, with their beautiful hairs, watching a play. And the other photo, almost the same number, with women completely covered with black. And this artist said, the picture above for the grandmothers of the ones who below. These are the grandmothers with mini skirts, beautiful hair, and sitting watching a play. And these down are the granddaughters, covered completely with black. And even if you look at the names, that's what I noticed when I was in Basra. People from my family, the old generation, have beautiful names.
Like
Nidal, Asmahan, Ruba, whatever. But the new names are only for women from Muhammad's family, something, you know. Zahra, Zainab, Khadija. Names changed. They go back to many centuries, 14th, 15th centuries back. So that's, I mean, when I just wrote the names down, I thought this is enough to prove what's happening in Iraq now. Look at the names. Look at my sister, how she dressed. She has her photograph when she was young, and the other photograph when she's now. And she's covered with black. So, this is you. This is the woman I know. I don't know this one in the black. And her daughters covered with black. She cries for them, she said to me. She said when she looks at them covered with black, she cries. Because we don't have such a woman in our family before. There's a new woman, a new young woman covered with black. So it's not only black dress, it's down there. They believe sometimes, many of them believe in what they get. They believe in their destiny. They say, okay, women has to stay at home, and they believe in it, and they defend it. They vote for these parties who oppress them, who imprison them. And that's the saddest part of it. Some Iraqi party is a very reactionary party from the Islamists, the worst in them. They're all bad. This is the worst in them. They try to introduce what they call it the Sharia women law. The new thing goes back to Muhammad time. And I saw a demonstration for many women holding banners. They want this law to be implemented by the House of Commons. These women only, the only demonstration I saw is for these women. With panels, say, okay, we want this law. In Baghdad, last year, just last year. Well, I have my own stamp, let us say. I have my own way of doing things. But not many people can see it because I'm not a famous artist. I mean, being famous now is a different thing. How can one be a famous artist? This is a market now. And the market might have its own conditions which doesn't fit art itself. It has its own logic. Am I in it? I don't think so. I'm not in the market. Not many people like my work. No, not so many people know about my work. But would that make it useless or not a good artwork? I don't know. Hopefully it's not. But with that, I mean, all the famous people now, do they produce good art? All of them. Is that necessary? Because you're a famous, you produce good. I doubt that too. So this is another thing, to be a famous artist or to be a good artist. It's not the same thing. I don't see how this thing has to do anything with Islam. I mean, Islam is something different. But as an art activity, they do now lots of binales and lots of art, what they call it, markets and art festivals and so on. I feel like it's been fabricated and it's not real. It's I don't think anyone really, let's put it this way, I don't think it's needed. It's part of this, what I call the market activity, which has nothing to do with the needs of the people. I mean, for example, in Dubai, they do the Arab art festival, what they call it. I don't know. But if you go and see it, you don't see much Arabs in it. Artists are from Iran, from India, from China, from Pakistan, from everywhere. Lots of postmodernism work. They exhibit there things like similar to the chemist or the pharmacy of Damien Hirst or so on. They exhibit in Dubai, where the people haven't seen a real exhibition in their lives, real paintings on a canvas. People still paint like, or love landscapes and hooks and birds and things, and animals in the desert or something like that. I don't think it's important, or on the contrary, I think it's dangerous and it's harmful to the audience, to the people who supposedly will benefit from it, and to the art movement in the Arab world. Because now this is the false art movement. When you look at it, this is the art movement in the Arab world. But in reality, the art movement is completely different. This is what they decide to be art. They decide this for us and for the Arabs. This is the art we want you to be like, to enjoy. Or this is the art will represent you. And it's forced from outside. Most of this art curators has nothing to do with the Arabs or with the Arabic culture. A lot of them, or the majority of them, don't speak Arabic. And they come to choose Arabic work from Arabic artists to Arab audience, and they have nothing to do with the place and with the culture. They are Americans, they are Europeans, and there are lots of, from all kinds of nationalities. It's like even in Iraq, when I went to Venice, the Pinala of Venice, and the Iraqi pavilion was chosen by the curator, who is not Arabic, who is not Iraqi, who has nothing to do with Iraq art.
Was he British, American?
No, I think he was from Belgium, or Dutch or something. And he had a staff helping him from people who supposedly from Iraq, but they are not. I mean, they're born out of Iraq. They don't speak Arabic, they don't speak Iraqi. They haven't been to Iraq before. They haven't met any Iraqi artists. I feel like with many other artists like myself, we've been marginalized because we are not part of the market. And in the art history, you always see people like that, like us. We are out of it. We fell out of the train of the wagons, like of the art market, or art movement. And how much good or bad we are, I don't know. But we are out of it. Because we do not do this trend thing. We stand for different values in art. And I think art is one of the last things, the last weapons, let's say, people have to defend themselves and their values, especially those people who have lost everything. And now this last weapon is needed to be taken away from them. And I feel like most of postmodernism and the new art movement is the way to take it from them. Okay. To make them lose it. I don't want to participate in that. I don't want them to lose something they can benefit from. Because now I don't feel like people benefiting from the postmodernism art movement and the philosophy of it. And what they used to have, what we call art, which enhance their lives, put some beauty in it, help them to understand the way they're living ways, their lives, their feelings, their relations with others and with the nature. This kind of art, this is what I call art. In postmodernism, or whatever latest art we see now, which we call art, I don't call it art, these values are not there. And it's not needed to be there. And when the Arabs, especially Arab carnivals, they promote this new art, actually they strip their own selves from what they should have to defend themselves, from the art which can help them to understand their lives. But because they are rich, they're blind. They don't feel that they need to understand more. They think they know. Because being rich and not educated is a very dangerous mixture. Because in this way, you will think that the main issues of your life is what you can get. What is beautiful life? There's a good car and a good house. So, okay, so we can do that tomorrow. There's no need to understand life in its depth and the meaning of it, which art provides, and culture, books, music, which is not there. This is different logic, the market and art. I mean, now we used to sell Rembrandt, for example, for the value of what's in the painting itself, what the painting represents. That's how he used to be paid for this work. Now they pay for something else, not for the value which is inside the painting. I don't think there's a painting which worth $350 million like they sold Matisse or Van Gogh. I don't think. I think I tried, let us say, I thought about it, and I forced myself sometimes just to do the thing which comes exactly out of me. I try to do these lines, which is mine, out of myself, out of my feeling, out of my hands. I try to put all what I know aside, which is not an easy thing, because I spend my life like any other artist in these days. You know, we study things, we go to see exhibitions, go to schools, and that stays in you and influence you and change your way of thinking and working. So how much when I do a painting or a drawing like this, I always ask myself how much is this from me? How much it's really genuine, coming out of me? We cannot say it's not influence. It's not true. But how much this thing represents myself, even my muscles and my hands. So I try, and that's why when I came to this point, I thought, okay, this suits me, this is me, because I am not the person who built something slowly. I'm not that great planner. Not in life, not in art. I don't plan things for a long time. I'm spontaneous and quick. And I change my mind quickly about art and things, about my paintings. So the way I'm doing now, I think, corresponds to my needs and to myself.